So very good afternoon to you and welcome to the Heaven Country Club where the Heaven Masters 2025 is taking place. It's the second time consecutively that this venue will be hosting this event, and I think it's a really good thing for us. Started off the morning with a spot of rain. I'm not going to say a spot, it was quite a torrent actually, and you can see that the cameraman's lenses still have a few water drops. Temperature hasn't really been that cold. It's about 23 degrees Celsius, but having said that, the conditions have been very, very windy. Here's Lee Chae-yoon with the third stroke on hole number 6. Rain predicted right through the day. I think it's let up a little bit. It's not as heavy as it was earlier. It's a bit of a drizzle, but just the wind speeds. They've been hovering between 6.6 to 7 miles. That to me is quite daunting. It gets the ball to move a lot more, especially when you get onto the green. You just saw that placement by Lee Chae-yoon, but there was definitely movement after the ball landed due to the wind. 26 millimeters of rainfall, so it's not supposed to be so bad. Jung Yoon Ji will tee off for hole number 6. So it's a very, very interesting start to this event, and just to keep you in the loop, of course, we do have Kim Na-young, who's sitting right at the top of the leaderboard. She got through her day with 66 points and a 600 score. Now that could be bettered because you've got a trio sitting in second, third, but right now it's Park Yoon-kyung onto her to tee off for hole number 6. And Park Yoon-kyung, fully covered in rainwear. It's not very easy actually. Golfers are a lot more comfortable playing in their own attire, whether it's trousers or shorts or skirts, and the reason for that is, well, that's what they train in, that's what they play in. But days like this, you can't help it. Here's Han Ji-won. As you can see, that ball definitely turning away due to the wind, and it goes in pretty much the direction of where the flag was blowing. Han Ji-won, of course, is in tied second with Lee Joo-yoon and Park Ji-young and Lim Hee-jung as well. Park Bo-kyum onto a third stroke for hole 6. And that quartet that we're looking at in tied second is currently on 4 under, with Lee Joo-yoon, Park Ji-young and Lim Hee-jung being among the dew sweepers, and they of course have finished off their day's event, that is with round 1. But the interesting thing is that Han Ji-won is still in there, and keep in mind the fact that she's got a very, very good opportunity of probably getting there to that top spot on the leaderboard too. Yes, Han Ji-won, but she's, I kind of would retract that statement, onto the last bit for hole number 18. And I think she's just finished off her day's event with a 4 under. She'll stay in tied second. That bogey on the last hole was a bit of an undoing. 34 on the back 9, so I don't think she's going to complain too much. Yoo Hyun-jo will aim for birdie on hole number 6. She's got a 2 over score. And that's straight past the hole, so no worries at all. Well, the birdie might not be, in the bag, but as long as you can keep an even score, and I think that that's going to just keep her, still very much, in the event itself. Get out of the cat box. Here's Jung Yoon Ji. That's a second stroke for hole number 6. 253 meters to cover. Of course, that's not going to be possible, but she needs to get out of it. And I don't think that that was a shot that she planned. A bit of a dribble, if you ask me. But she's out of the hazard, and I think that that should help her. Park Bo-kyum to aim for birdie on hole number 6. She's got to beat the weather conditions. Just a tad bit of a push away from the hole, and she knows that. I think she'll be happy to pick up an even score. Kim Min-byul aims to birdie on hole number 8. Jung Yoon-ji will go on to a third stroke. Choi Rim, and she'll finish off with a birdie there on hole 8, and that's got to be a gem for us in this current moment with the weather really beating down hard on the golfers. I think I've always said this, well, hazy conditions and wind speeds are just the biggest obstacle to a golfer's progress. Now here's Kim Min-sun 7 onto a second stroke for hole 6. And wind speeds change the way that the ball travels, not just on the surface but even in the air. With the elevation, it's always a bit of a problem. And some golfers actually thrive on bad weather conditions, and we've seen that some golfers thrive on good conditions, most of them. Lee Chae-yoon too. And she too will miss out on a birdie that just curves around the destination, so she'll have to tap that in to clear it up to stay on par. Don't think that should be too much of an effort for her from this spot. And that's easily done. It is a bit hazy in spots, but not something that mars the vision of the golfers as far as the green is concerned. And now you look at this spot. This spot is fairly clean, absolutely clear as well. And I'm sure even with those spots on the lens, raindrops, you can still see it clearly. Park Hyun-kyung moves on to a second stroke for hole 6. And that ball's traveled. That has certainly traveled. Almost had legs of its own. Just about skipping past the green. She's a little beyond the border, but I think it should be good enough for her. But she's got a smile on her face, and I do love our golfers for that. They've always in good spirits. Han Jin-seon tees off for hole 8. Now that's a decent enough position for Han Jin-seon as she gets onto the carpet. Up next, it's Jung Yun Ji. Fourth stroke on hole number 6. Remember that she did have to get out of a spot of trouble. She's got onto the green, but she's got to finish on par, but it looks like she just might land up bogeying that. We'll have to see, as we get closer. I would say not a bad start at all, to the day, keeping in mind the fact that we do have, the weather conditions that have been a bit of a problem. But having said that, tomorrow might just be such an amazing day. It might just be bright and clean. Weather forecast sometimes can give you a warning, but things can change. Kim Min-sun 7 onto a third stroke, needs to place as well. She's got onto the green very well. Ball's going to travel a little bit, and I think... well, if you just kind of notice, and this is something that golfers know better than all of us, no matter how, the ball hits, the green, well, if you look at the direction that the flagstick dances towards or leans towards with the wind, the ball's going to travel in that direction, because that gives you an indication of how the winds are blowing. Park Min-ji aiming for birdie on hole number 10. It's a narrow miss for her, and she knows it, but she will try and finish this. Meanwhile, it's back to Park Hyun Kyung. Needed to chip that onto the carpet, and I think she's just about done that. Can still work towards a birdie with that. Just to keep you in the loop, of course, the Heaven Masters, which is the second consecutive year being played here at the Heaven Resort. I must tell you that we are coming at you live from Gyeonggi-do, and there's a few bits and bobs to remember about this tournament. We'll get to that in just a bit after Choi Rim gets through her third stroke on hole number 9. A birdie definitely out of the question here. So the prize money for this event is actually 1 billion Korean won, which is about 724,312 US dollars, 0.60 cents. Forgot to add that. Park Bo-kyom, second stroke on hole 7. We'll be looking to get this close to the tin cup, and I think she'll have to really work hard for a birdie if she has to for this one. So the main winner here will take home 130,418 US dollars, which is about 180 million Korean won. Runner-up will take home 110 million Korean won, which is 79,696 US dollars. Kim Min-byul aiming for birdie on hole 9. Oh, that would have been such a wonderful finish, so close to it in a way. I think as long as you can tap it in, keep an even score, that's what matters. 35 on the front 9. She's had 1 birdie and a 1 under score. While here's Lee Chae-yoon onto a second stroke for hole 7. Here's Park Hyun Kyung aiming for birdie on hole 6. She's got to watch the way that wind's moving, and I think that's what she's done. Just a narrow miss. She did, of course, I think, gauge that very, very well. It was just about being able to find a pathway and using a banana approach to it. It's always the right way to go. And when you have to ride across the waters, well, it's so famous in songs, isn't it? Han Junseon has the water to surround her. She doesn't have to cross it, but has to keep a focus to earn herself an underscore here. And that's well played. Absolutely well played by her. Yu Hyun Jo onto a second stroke for hole 7. Jung Yoon Ji will aim to finish on par for hole 6. And a tap-in should just about get the job done for the time being. So it's been a bit of a challenge, as I said earlier. Kim Min-sun 7, aiming for birdie on hole number 6. Lee Chae-yoon onto her third stroke for hole 7. Needs to get herself out of a spot as well. And I think that she's just about struggling a little bit there. Meanwhile, getting ready to tee off here. It's Park Yoon Kyung for hole number 7. It's got a good bit of a wallop into that one. Up next, it's going to be Kim Min-sun 7. Remember, she tees off for hole 7 as well. Not much has changed on the leaderboard. In fact, all those sitting right at the top of the leaderboard have actually finished off, their round 1 efforts. And looking at Kim Na-young, she's still at the top with that 6 under score. And then you've got that quartet of tied second with Han Ji-won, Lee Ju-yoon, Park Ji-young, and Lim Hee-jung. And it's very interesting because if you look down the line, then, in 6th position, you've got Jung Ji-ho with 3 under, and then there's a whole lot, another quartet in tied 7th with 2 under, and each of these have actually finished their day's event, which means it's been a bit of a low scoring first round, and that's due to weather conditions. But I do believe the golfers who are still here on the course can achieve a lot. It's all about being able to ride, mind over matter, mind over obstacles. Let's put it that way. Jeongyun-ji. She'll tee off for hole 7. I do remember, the Heaven Masters 2024 was such a huge event last year when it went down to a 3-way playoff, and then Bai So-yoon picked up the victory, and it was such a terrific event because that 3-way battle, the playoff, happened thrice on the 18th hole. Park Bo-kyung will aim for birdie on hole 7. She's just gone past the target as well. So last year, interestingly, in a playoff between Bai So-yoon, Seo Yoo-jin and Hwang Yoon-min, Hwang Yoon-min dropped out on the first playoff, and then in the second playoff, Bai So-yoon and Seo Yoo-jin were tied back again. In the third playoff, it was Bai So-yoon who capped it off with the victory. So it was a very, very interesting finish, and I do wonder whether that's going to be pretty much a replication of what happened last year, or this year will it be a single winner all the way. Well, we'll find out as we progress through this event. Right now we're still in round 1, and it's only going to get more exciting from here. Here's Seo Yoo-jin, last year's runners-up. Third stroke for hole number 11. I think she'll be fairly pleased with that, because that ball's going to roll back and help her. Remember, there's a bit of a downward slope there coming in from the outside towards the flagstick. Lee Chae-yoon is aiming for bogey. It's going to be tough for her on this one. Yoo Hyun-jo looking to finish on par for hole number 7. And that's what she does. As she's had a buzzard on hole number 2, and that was really her issue, and that's the reason that kind of pegged her back on the score. Otherwise, she's kept it fairly clean. It's over to Jeongyun-ji as she gets onto a second stroke for hole 7, 125 meters to cover. Not a bad spot, decent placement from her onto the green, and I think that just might work in her favor. Park Yoon-kyung onto her second stroke, 114 meters. Well, that's well done. Very well done there, and appreciation from the audience as well. It is in conditions like this, when you have an audience that sticks around and you really know who your true hardcore followers are. On the final day of any event, it's always going to be crowded, but you know that there are still, and sometimes it's family and friends who'll stick with you on days like this. Otherwise the golfers are just left with their caddies and just have to go about their business like a regular day at the office. So Kim Min-sun 7 onto a second stroke for hole 7. Not a bad lift off at all, and I think that that's going to work in her favor. There's Park Bo Kyung. He's off for hole number 8. Well, things are going to progress a bit slower than usual, and the reason is due to the fact that it's been a windy day. So Kim Na-young up there still with that 6 under. The quartet of Han Ji-won, Lee Ji-yoon, Park Ji-young, Lim Hee-jong with 4 under and tied second. Sixth you've got Jung Ji-yo, and then you've got another quartet in tied 7th with Jo Hai-lim and Choi Yi-bon, who are sitting with that 2 under along with Lee Dong-gyun and Lee Dae-yeon. Remember, Lee Dong-gyun comes in from a win in just the previous event, and it's been a good time for her, so she'll be very keen to carry that form into this event.
나이스! 나이스! 마지막 전반은 멋있어.
Well, getting ready to tee off next year's Park Hae-jun. And straight off from hole 1. As you can see, of course, you've got the, just a building that sits right to the left of it. And it's an interesting take because this resort, of course, was constructed in such a way that it's been a fairly interesting, course as compared to a lot of the other courses, and it does have design excellence behind it. We'll talk about that as we get through the event. But for now, there's still, hope, because we are going to get through this day. And even though the rain continues, to fall, you can see it faintly, through the camera lens. It's not as heavy as it started off. So it will be interesting. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we can get through this day, because, that's all that I'd be interested in. Because we do want to get a full round of golf, adjustments and deductions and subtractions never really part of the fun. Yes, Park Hyun Kyung, and I'm sure she'd agree with that as well. She's gone in with the 9-iron for hole number 8. She's got a good bit of lift on that. Yoo Hyun Jo will go next to tee off for hole number 9. She's carrying that 2 under. Remember, she had that buzzer to contend with. Here's Jung Yoon Ji. She tees off for hole 8. She too's gone in with the 9-iron. Lee Chae-yun up next. She too is carrying a 3-over score here. Got herself onto a decent spot on the fairways. We'll have to work towards that approach shot to see whether she can better what she's been going through on this morning. Great conditions for a good cup of joe or a nice latte or a cappuccino. Kim Min-sun 7 will tee off for hole 8, and you get some of the best coffee in Korea, and I can vouch for that. It really is. Forget about the intoxicating beverage. This is a coffee drinking nation. Believe me. Absolutely love it. I've always said this, some of the best cold brews I've ever had at really, really affordable prices. Cheap as ever. And it's in most of the convenience stores here. Absolutely beautiful. Great cold brew. Here's Park Bo-kyung. Tees off for hole number 9. Just with this weather, I just had to get myself a cup of coffee. I hope that you have had yours if you're a coffee drinker like I am. When I was a child, it was considered to be, well, not the most favorable of drinks, and it's gone back and forth, and finally people realized, hey, you know what, it's not so bad after all. Could be good for you. Park Min-ji goes in with a gentle push. Oh, what are the chances? What are the chances of that happening? Oh, that ball just played truant. It just played truant at the last bit. Such a meticulously constructed putt. Oh, she can't believe it herself. That's just unbelievable. Oh, the ball said, well, I gotta travel a bit more. Don't want to stop just here. Don't want to go down, a few inches. Seo Yujin. It's gonna be a tough ride for her as well. Park Bin-kyung aiming for birdie on hole number 8. A good bit of confidence in that. I think just a bit too much of a push. But as I said today, it's just unpredictable. And all the golfers who've actually been getting their putts right, hats off to them, because it's really a very, very challenging affair here today. Moon Jung-min will go in with her effort for a birdie, and she just narrowly missed it. Well, that was so close to actually, so close to her achieving that. That's nicely done. Kim Min-sun 7 going in for birdie on hole number 8. She'll miss, well, the destination just by a little bit. Lee Chae-yoon on to her second stroke for hole 9. She's on to the green, but it's still going to be a huge bit of a distance between, current location and the flagstick. I think she would have liked it to have traveled just a little bit more. Jong Yoon-ji, she's had a fairly decent, run in these events. Excellent golfer to watch. Well, that's going to go past the destination for her. She was fairly good in the previous event too. Sorry, not in the previous event, but at the Celtrion for Masters. And Lee Yvonne, of course, was the pick of the crop this year, you know, having won 3 events already. But Jong Yun Ji, of course, won the Suyuk Bank MBN Ladies Open on the 1st of June. And the Celtrion Queen Masters was won by Lee Ga-yong. And then the DB Group Korea Open Women's Open Golf Championship was won by Lee Dong-gyun. That was very interesting. It was a very interesting finish as well. It was practically her first, win in the KLPGA, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a 1.2 billion event. But she's such a consistent performer. Now, here's Park Hyun-kyung, another one of my favorites. She goes on to her 3rd stroke for hole number 8. I do love, the way that she plays, the temperament. She won the Iwon Charity Open on the 25th of May. It was a 900 million Korean won event. It was her 8th title in the KLPGA. And that's nicely done for Park Hyun-kyung. She too is a quality golfer to watch in action. Other winners this year have been, Kim Min-sun, Bang Shin-sil, Kim Min-ju, Park Bo-kyom, who started off with the Blue Canyon Ladies Championship. Now here's Yoo Hyun-jo, 2nd stroke for hole 9. So a couple of the usual suspects in there, but I think the one that would love to carry her form into this event is actually Lee Dong-gyun. Because when you win your first title, on the tour, and then you just want to extend that form and keep doing as well as you can. Lee Chae-yoon onto her 3rd stroke for hole 9. It's a 3-over score that's been a bit of a bother for her. Jong Yun Ji, will she be keen on her 2nd event win of the year? She tees off. I think that's an interesting question that will be answered these 2 days, because if she progresses through to the final round, and that's something that Lee Dong-gyun was doing right through in the last 2 years, consistently getting into that last 3 as much as she could, but was becoming a bit of a bridesmaid when it came to winning a title. And I think she broke that in the last event last week, and so happy for her. Here's Yu Hyun Jo aiming for birdie on hole 9. And Yu Hyun Jo will have to wait. Nicely tapped in by Yu Hyun Jo. 38 on the front 9, and it's that buzzer on the second hole that really was an undoing. Kim Min Sun, 7, will tee off for hole 9. Roh Seung Wei, second stroke on hole 10. Lee Chae-yoon needs to finish on par for hole 9, and she's going to bogey that. I don't think it's going to be too interesting for her, but yeah, she'll just clean that up. Park Hyun Kyung will tee off for hole 9, 322 meters. She's carrying an even score so far in the event. Got herself onto the rough with this one. So Kim Na-young still holds a position at the top of the leaderboard with 6 under, with Han Ji-won, Lee Ju-yoon, Park Ji-young and Lim Hee-jung in that quartet of tied second and 4 under with 4 under. Now Jung Ji-ho, of course, has got company with Lee Dae-yeon moving into tied 6th with that 3 under. And then you've got that quartet with tied 8th where Choi Yi-bon and Lee Dong-gyun also sit with 2 under. Bae So-yoon, the defending champion or last year's winner, is in tied 11th with a 1 under score. Interesting. Jung Yun Ji. She's on to hole 9. Roh Seung-hui will aim for birdie on hole number 10. Would have definitely been, something in here in terms of how well our golfers would construct or change their approach to this event. Now, Park Hyun-kyung getting herself onto the rough. It's not too far. She's still got very clear sight of the green, and if she can approach it, needs to scale, over that tree. Not too difficult for her, and I think that is outstanding work being done by her. So Park Hyun-kyung delighting there. Absolutely wonderful, stroke from her. Landed herself so close to, the tin cup, and I think that's going to work in her favor. Park Min-ji. The birdie might be out of the question for hole number 13, but I would shut my mouth to this. And it's only the wind that's been, of course, marring that ability. Meanwhile, it's over to Jung Yun Ji. She needs to get out of the beach. Well played by her. Absolutely well played. She's put herself in contention of finishing with an even score. And actually a birdie was not out of the question. She played that extremely well. Excellent effort here from Jung Yun Ji. Park Min-ji up next. Looks to finish on par for hole 13.
Nice ball!
And I think she's done just well enough to keep herself, safe. Kim Min-sun 7, aiming for birdie on hole 9. She's just scaled past the destination. Choi Rim will aim for birdie on hole number 11. that's well done. So Choi Rim gets a moment of joy, and well, on this day, any bit of joy will do. So 3 birdies in for her as she gets the third one on hole 11. She's got 2 bogeys in there as well, but I think she's done well. She was very good in the Celtrion Masters, but then just kind of lost her, bearing somewhere along the path. On 7, but I'd say it would be a narrow miss for her. Park Hyun Kyung aiming for birdie on hole number 9. She had a wonderful approach shot. Well played. Absolutely well played here by Park Hyun Kyung. She's got that 1 under and finishes with a birdie on hole number 9. She's had 2 birdies and 1 bogey in there. So she finally gets her score up a little bit at the end of the front 9. She's got 9 more holes to go through today. Meanwhile, Jong Eun-ji looking to finish on par for hole 9. .36 on the front 9 and an even score here for Jong Eun-ji. It's well played by her. Absolutely well played by her. And if something's got to go your way, that's definitely it. That is definitely it. So the wind can sometimes go against you, but in this case it can work for you. And that's just carried the ball closer to the flagstick. She should actually be happy about it, but she did land at quite a spot from the flagstick, and that just traveled. And the ball said, hey, I'm going to get close to the tin cup for you for this one. Lee Dae-yeon, 18th hole. Stroke number 3. It's 108 meters for her to reach the destination. I think that should work, pretty well for her. Meanwhile, yes, Lee Chae-yoon needs to get out of the slope on the rough. Second stroke for hole 10. She's had a very challenging day too, carrying a 4 over score so far in the event. Choi Rim. The tee off for hole number 12. She's going in with an 8 iron. Park Bo-kyum up next. Second stroke for hole 10. She wasn't too happy about that, but she's got a terrific placement there on the carpet. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. And I think that's with a smile on her face as well. Wasn't really expecting that, but that traveled beautifully for her. On to hole 12, where Kim Min-byul will tee off. 150 meters is what we're looking at. She's going to go in with a 9 iron. Yes, Cho Yun-woo will tee off for hole 12. She's going in with a 9 iron too. Jung Hana, 4th stroke on hole 18. Well, I'd say just a tad bit impulsive. Meanwhile, here's Lee Chae-yoon. She's on to her 3rd stroke for hole 10. Lee Dae-yeon up next, 4th stroke for hole 18. Not a bad day for her, considering that she's still got that 3 under. As long as she doesn't bogey this, I think she should be fairly in a good spot. Here's Yoo Hyun Jo. Will aim for birdie on hole number 10. Might be interesting, and yes. Well, I think that's going to be a bit of joy for her, because that's so required, you know, at a time like this. You definitely want to make it count. You definitely want to, well, pull in a bit of joy, I would believe. Kang Ga-yeol. Now that ball's going to stay in for her on hole number 18. What a nice way to finish the front 9. 2 birdies in there, 34 her score and 2 under. And, well, she's delighted about it. She certainly is. Lee Chae-yoon looking to finish on par for hole 10. Park Hyun-kyung is up next. I do believe that she'll have to work hard for this as well. She's really looking like Well, she's geared up for battle in the Winter Olympics, and that's just due to the color of her outfit. You can see the beautiful background there. Very well constructed resort, actually, the Heaven Resort. Very picturesque, very pretty, a bit old school, in its approach, and I like that. If you have a classic kind of design, there are so many modern clubhouses. If you remember the Celtrian Masters, that was that absolutely eco-friendly, clubhouse that has become a study in design and has won so many awards. But then you have these classy, looking classic design clubhouses, classic design resorts, and I really love that. Just call me an old man at heart, probably, but I do love the old school designs a lot more than the new designs that we see often nowadays. Park Yun Kyung finally getting herself into the groove here. As she tees off for hole number 10. It will be interesting to see how she can construct this. And elsewhere on the course, it's back to Lee Dae-yeon. Lee Dae-yeon finishes her front nine with 33. She's had an eagle. She's had 3, birdies in there, 2 bogeys. Very, very interesting. A very colorful front nine, from her. Park Bo-kyung aiming for birdie on hole number 10. Well, that's going to be a miss for her, but she will attempt just to do a bit of damage control. Jong Yoon-ji up next as she tees off for hole 10. Nicely done by her. Kim Min-sun, 7, will tee off next for hole 10. She's carrying a 10 over score. I think just about waiting for that wind to subside. As you can see, it's been blowing hard. For a guy of my size, of course, I wouldn't move too much, but our golfers would kind of just not, budge a little bit. Just waiting for that wind to die down. As you can see, it's not been easy, and you do have to gauge the conditions before you can actually progress. Because once you tee off, and you don't want to find yourself in the woods after you tee off. Now wind speeds up to between 7.5 to 8 miles, and that'll give you a fair idea of how things have changed. There you can see I think Kim and Sun 7's just going to wait it off, and I think Park Yun Kyung just agreeing with her and telling her that she needs to wait. Meanwhile, Jung Hana has no such issue as she's on hole 18. Will look to finish on par. She's carrying a 6 over, not a desirable score, but it'll be good too. I think it'll be good for her just to wrap up that front 9. Now she's had 4 bogeys and a buzzer, and that's the reason why she's got that score. But she's keeping herself motivated and realistic, and I think that that's what matters. Temperature has actually moved up a little bit to 24 degrees. Kim Min Byul aiming for birdie here. Kim Min Byul will finish off with the birdie. Another wonderful golfer to watch in action. She's got excellent temperament on the course, during upswings and downswings, and I'm talking about her performance, but she can just keep herself head over shoulders all the time. Now here's Choi Rim, aims for birdie on hole number 12. This will be an interesting one for her. That ball, of course, will stay put. 27.50 millimeters of rainfall, that's what we've had, and that's a clean finish, so she'll keep it on par. Choi Yun Woo, a birdie on hole number 12 will take her to an even score. Remember, she had a bogey in that front 9. So over to Park Bo Kyum on hole number 11. Kim Na-young will still lead the way with Han Ji-won, Lee Ji-yoon, Park Ji-young and Lim Hee-jong in tied second. Kim Na-young in first with 6 under. The tied seconds in 4 under. Jung Ji-ho, Lee Tae-yeon in tied 6th with 3 under. And then you've got Jo Hai Lim in that tied 8th, along with Choi Yi-bon, Lee Dong-gyun and Kang Ga-yul in 2 under. So Lee Dong-gyun slowly progressing, but Bai So-yoon, who's finished round 1, has only finished with 1 under. She's in tied 12th. And I think that can be just a tad bit of a worry, for her going ahead. Two of the things that I truly love, of course, lotuses and water lilies. And it's interesting to, see how, well, you often see them here. Gimminson 7 onto a second stroke for hole 10. Park Kyung. One of the songs that I'd love to play at the course today would be Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind. Not that the lyrics apply, but just the conditions. Park Kyung onto a second stroke for hole 10. Let's remind you that this is the Heaven Masters, and we are coming at you live from the Heaven Resort in Gyeonggi-do. It's a absolutely wonderful place, and I think Park Kyung may have just stayed a bit away from trouble. I think she's got herself onto the rough. Well, she'll be just, she's got a smile on her face. She knows that she might have just escaped hitting the beach there.
양은 입장가 더 많지. 여기까지는 너가 괜찮을 것 같으면. 네, 여기까지. 천천히 약간 잡으면은 아직은
Just a bit of talk there between the caddies and of course the golfers. Sung-yi will aim for birdie on hole number 12. She needs to, of course, upgrade her performance. She's at 1 under. Remember, we do get, a lot of the list of golfers halved as we get into day 2, and then you get the cream of the crop on the final round. Remember, we're playing 3 rounds here in this event. It is a 3-round event, and a Cuban year for her. Sung-yi will have to work a little bit harder. I think she'll be glad to keep an on-par finish at the most. She's going to wait for the wind, and there you can see it. She definitely has, her tire fluttering in the wind. And she just got to wait. Because there's going to be resistance against that, and even an attempt for her to knock that in, I might actually see that ball move away. We did see what happened to Park Min-ji. That ball just plopped out. And there it is, finally over and done with. Did not want to, bogey that due to the wind, and I think it's smart to have stayed. Park Bo-kyung will aim for birdie on hole number 11. Han Jin-seon aiming for birdie on hole number 12. I'm sure she doesn't want to botch that up, and that's the reason why golfers have had to pause and think. Well, I did mention this earlier that the wind speeds were, fairly high, and it was really, quite an event in those terms. An Song-yi, of course, waited her turn, politely for the wind to stop, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, well, what can happen here. And that's exactly what would be a problem, because you can construct your putt however you want, but ultimately how you execute it, depending on the wind conditions, is such a fragile and delicate matter. You're almost sitting on the border of success and failure, and it can be a problem. So hole number 10, big movement there. Park In-kyung will keep her head down. You normally do that when you're a cyclist, when you want to cut through the wind. Yoo Hyun-jo aims to birdie on hole number 11. Nice little finish there from her. Lee Chae-yoon aiming for birdie on hole 11. Decently done by her. Jung Yoon-ji looking to finish on par on hole 10. That goes past the destination for her. And I think this is a spot where, oh, you can see a golfer waving in from there. Well, that's got to be the sweetest end. Well, that's Park Kyung, isn't it? And she's just happy to be sitting in the buggy, away from the rain. Kim Min-sun 7 looks to finish on par for hole 10. She has finished on par. It's one of these important things that we ignore in golf. You look at the KLPGA, and when you compare, the women's golf to men's golf, men's golf tends to be so much more intense and serious in a way. Of course, there are some great moments. You have some entertainers. Remember Arnold Palmer to a great extent, and that's Park Kyung, and that's what I'm talking about. You don't see that girl next door disposition, and she's a happy camper to be sitting away from the rain in a sheltered spot. Jong Yoon-ji will have to bogey hole number 10. And women's golf brings that delicate, kind of elegance to the sport, which is so very important. And these, girls and young ladies, they absolutely love to play the sport in the best way possible. Now, yes, Kim Min-sun 7 as she joins Park Kyung. And to get away from both of them, they're just wonderful, aren't they? And that's what you kind of. You're not even going to bother with the weather conditions when you have, golfers really providing that kind of entertainment.
재밌네 날씨.
Certainly looks like the trees or the flora and fauna has come alive here today, with so much of movement due to, those wind speeds. So no change there in that, leaderboard as it currently stands, because, Kim Na-young is still ruling the roost there with that quartet and tied second with 4 under. There might be changes, moving on ahead, but as of now, it still seems like steady progress. Things are a bit slow here, and, it's a bit gloomy, but I think our golfers are keeping us in high spirits, and, more power to them. So still a few changes, well, in the offing here. It's interesting as we progress through this event because I do remember the Celtrion Masters, well, things were a bit slow, but they really picked up. And then on the second and third day, and on the third day, it got through a fever-like finish, with a playoff, between three golfers. And that's pretty much what happened last year in the Heavens Masters. So it's going to be interesting to see, well, this year how things really pan out. Aiming for birdie, it's Handbit now. On hole number 18, she's got a 2 over that she's carrying so far. Will be interesting to see how she progresses. Just skipping past the destination, that would have been such a marvelous finish actually. Handbit knot. We'll aim to finish on par for hole number 18. Just missed out on a birdie there. And that's a fine finish from her. She'll be happy to just avoid, going through the motions as far as the bogeying is concerned. Songayun aim to finish on par for hole number 18. And that's nicely done by her. Caps it off at 38 on the front nine. And Park Hyun Kyung, while having a meal, and she couldn't be happier. But being out in the rain will also make you, well, hungry.
안 먹어?
다 먹고.
But she's got to be the nicest.
4시 20분에 대기한대. 아 진짜? 한대?
I'm sure she was actually sharing her food with the caddy.
다 들려. 인별을 찍어주세요.
괜찮아요. 아니 근데 여기 4시 20분에 바로 버분데요.
It's always behind the scenes, isn't it, that really holds the most charm. And Park Hyun Kyung has definitely been, well, in very good spirits today. Well, here at the clubhouse, as you can see, the golfers, well, do get to, well, spend a bit of time away, and most of them away from the rain. So now they are happy in here. As you can see, of course, those marquee rolls, I absolutely love them. And all the golfers were just having a bit of time off. Were sitting with their caddies, getting a bit of refreshment. And it's even more interesting on the last day when the golfers have actually let off a lot of steam. There's no pressure, there's nothing else, and they're really just letting loose and having a chat. And I think she's preferred to stay off the fried stuff and get a bit of dragon fruit. I absolutely love it. I've always said this: if you haven't been to Korea Republic, one of the greatest things to do is actually to come here, take a visit, and figure out how well things really pan out. It's a beautiful place to be in, and some of the fruits and vegetables that come in from places like Jeju, just really outstanding.
나보고서만.
어디 쳐다봐야 될지 모르겠어요.
나 갈래.
안 돼요.
아니 4시.
So the Heaven Masters round 1, we've got a weather delay. That's the reason why all our golfers are in here. So do stay with us, don't go anywhere. We should be resuming, in probably about an hour and a half from now. But currently the weather delay is on at the Heaven Masters. Things are unchanged as far as, well, the leaderboard is concerned. And so about an hour and a half, I think in an hour and about 15 or 20 minutes, we will have our golfers making their way back onto the course. So do join us then. Time for you, of course, to take a short break as well. Get yourself some refreshment like our golfers, take a bit of time off, have yourself a nice hot beverage like a cup of joe, and I'll catch you back again when we resume. So well, I do stand corrected. We're looking at about 30 minutes from now that we will resume. And we do have a couple of the highlights from earlier. We'll leave you with that, and I'll join you again in exactly 25 minutes to be fair. So once again, just a reminder, we are coming at you live from Gyeonggi-do, from the Heaven Resort. This is the Heaven Masters 2025. We've had a weather delay due to the rains. We're just leaving you with a couple of the highlights so you can, well, enjoy that. But we'll be back in about 30 minutes from now. To be precise, as I said, I'll be back in my seat in 25 minutes, and I'll catch you then. So I'll look forward to you joining me once again.
그렇네. 아니 여기 옆에 어깨에다가 해야 돼. 아, 너무 추워. 너 왜 비옷 안 입고 있어? 이거 봐, 만져봐.
언니 이거 다 되겠어.
이거 만져봐. 아니 이거는 흡수하는 반방수를 걸 방수라고 할 수 있는 거야.
안 비우는 게 반지에 있어요. 이건 여기 이거. 강아지 뭐야?
땡구. 너 마크 어디 있어? 마크 누가 왔어? 너네 집에 우리 사는 데 지금 어디 있어?
지금 나가는 게 뭐야?
예수가 보고 있어. 셋째가. 그러고 아닐 때는 아니 나 인스타로 너네 강아지 보잖아. 그냥 댓글을 봤는데 맞아. 내가 스토리에 올린
지금 나 머리 다 빠져. 지금 의자 보고 있어.
연사에 우리 가면 뭐?
네, 잘못한 거죠. Let's go. 전태디. 전태디가 간다.
정태디 화이팅.
아, 먼저 가자.
뭐 흐름만 끌어줘서 흐름만.
언니는요?
나 16번 그린 뒤쪽으로 가줄게요.
우리 16번이잖아. 가자.
우성 화이팅. 벌써 가라고 먼저 가라고 하진 않겠지.
우리 좀 혜준이만 오면 되는데? 그런 거 없어요. 네. 가요. 웨스트 갈 거야, 웨스트. 저희 12. 웨스트는 어딘지 모르겠어요. 왼쪽 12. 싸우지 말고 웨스트 쪽으로 하는데 어떻게 해야 돼? 아, 삼천리 화이팅! 뭐야? 가자. 모이면 가. 껴! 갖고 와!
여기요. 5번은 5번은 그냥 잘 카트 뒤로 살짝 밀어.
우리는 아웃코스 없어. 정해진 거 없어. 상황판에 선수가 몇 번으로 가자. 몇 번으로 가. 선수가 데려다 달라.
야 뒤에 조심하세요 뒤에. 야야 뒤에. 야 비켜. 야 뒤에 비키세요 뒤에 비키세요.
아니 저 10분을 가서 우리
근데 지금 앞에 한 몇 조 있나 봐요. 그것 때문에 아마 중간이 됐었던 것 같은데.
오빠 간 거 같아 왠지 느낌이.
그래요?
걸어서요? 어.
걸어서?
왠지
아까
걸어서.
봤는데? 아까 일로 가는 걸 봤는데?
다빈이 들어오기 전에
맞지?
이쪽으로 걸어가시는 거. 그치.
아니,
그럼
그럼
갔을 거야. 가자.
가요?
가자. 어, 네, 가자. 그렇게 오빠 가는 거 같아. 조심하세요.
부장원. 부장원.
빨리 피하는 게 나을 것 같아.
떠들어오는 거 아니냐고. 어? 떠들어오는 거 아니냐고.
아니 근데 아빠보다 진짜 더 심해요.
이제는 혼나실까봐 원 좋아하는 거안 물어보내실 거.
아니 근데 이럴 거였으면 아까 그냥
그지?
아까 쳤으면 저희도 계속 쳤죠.
우리 치려고 했잖아.
저희 치려고 했는데 들어오시라 해가지고.
너무 무섭게 말해요. 건의사항 너무 무섭게 말합니다.
아, 올리겠습니다. 저는.
저랑 같이 가실까요? 착하게.
아까가 비가 좀 일로 와 연수야.
Welcome back to the Heaven Resort, and if you're just trying to figure out what Park Yoon Kyung was doing there and what all the other golfers have been doing, it's very simple. None of them are doing the salsa or any kind of aerobics, but they're just trying to get back their momentum, and that's so needed because well, it does break momentum when you get into a break, and you need to get warmed up. Golf may look a lot easier than other sports, but being well oiled and well warmed up makes a huge bit of a difference. And then when you have a slight bit of rest, then your muscles, of course, well, do get into relaxed mode, and you've got to activate them again. It's like any other sport. So that's the reason why you'll see some of our golfers who are actually just warming up, and I think it's the right thing to do in this situation. Park Yoon Kyung, she gave us some delightful moments. Was just keeping the mood light and easy for all of us, and I think that that's a good thing. So a lot of the golfers still waiting to gauge the situation. They returned back to the course, and it will be interesting to see, well, what exactly happens, because at the end of the day, it does depend on a call being taken by the officials, more importantly, about whether you can continue with play or whether play should be stalled. And I think it's very important in a situation like this because the golfers, of course, do have a lot at stake in terms of the actual gameplay and what's going to pan out on the course in front of them. They would not want to put themselves in a dire position where you are stuck, then fighting a losing battle. And I think we're pretty much, good to restart the event. And what a great way to get started with the birdie. Rose Jung-Wei, well, certainly cuts the cake here. The first birdie of the day on hole number 12. And, just as she's come back, from that, break that we've had. So exciting times here for her. And I do believe that this is exactly what the doctor ordered. Lovely start. Absolutely lovely start. Yu Hyun-jo will go on next as she aims for a birdie.
약간 신경 안 써도 돼, 좀.
Quite well done by her to get her action underway. So, well, here's the good thing. I always believe, as long as we can just get back to the action, start off without having too much of a delay. Park Bo-kyung will tee off for hole number 12. Don't forget Rose Jung-Wei started off with that beautiful birdie, and she's given us a very positive, opening as such. So why not? Here's Lee Chae-yun up next. Quite a fine way to get her, action into motion, to get started off there. Choi rim. Third stroke for hole 13, 17 meters to cover. So interesting here from Park Hyun Kyung. Kim Min-sun 7 tees off for hole number 11.
오, 나이스.
117, 113?
117. 치면 괜찮을 것 같아.
오빠, 저 그거 비...
I do believe that it's quite an interesting affair when you kind of group the golfers together and you're trying to look at well, how they can perform, against the conditions. But it's a good thing that our officials, of course, have kind of restarted the action, because we do want a complete round. And right here at the Heaven Resort, well, the heavens have opened up and it's been raining, and I think it kind of adds to the joy in a way, but also kind of puts a dampener on things, because golfers do have to wait and actually watch their moves. So Kim Na-young continues to dominate there because she finished off her day with a 6 under, and then Han Ji-won, Lee Ju-yoon, Park Ji-young, and Lim Hee-jong formed that quartet and tied second with a 4 under. It's been a very, very interesting one for us as far as the day is concerned. Yu Hyun Jo will aim for birdie here. And I think she'll be happy about that. It's a good start for her. You know, just what the doctor ordered, you would believe, at this point of time. That's well played by Park Min-ji. I do believe one of the most challenging things that you can come across is when you actually have to navigate through the motions. Jung Yun Ji tees off well earlier, but what she really does with her efforts here on do make a big difference, and I think it'll be very interesting to see what she comes up with. Kim In-sun 7 goes on next. She's on her second stroke for hole number 11. Conditions just looking a tad bit better, and I think that's just going to boost the confidence of the golfers more than anything else, because that's what you require at this point of time. Here's Park Eun Kyung up next. And I do think most of the golfers are just about settling back into their rhythm. It's going to be interesting. Here's Bike Song. She tees off for hole number 1. Jung Yun Ji goes up next. Third stroke for her. Oh, that was a lovely, absolutely lovely effort from her. That's exactly, what makes the sport such an interesting one. You do have such winners that come out on any given day. Still continuing to pour, and it's been a bit, heavy. And officials just having a quick chat there with the golfers. Well, it certainly looks like it might be a bit of a worry because I think weather conditions haven't really improved. They've just got a tad bit worse, if you ask me. That'll definitely be a bit of a worry. And most of the officials having a chat with the golfers. I think they're trying to figure out what would be the best way to go about it. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the officials. You definitely want to ask the golfers, what their feeling is and how they, want to carry on with the action, or whether they want to go through that round and whether it's comfortable for them to do so. Aiming for birdie here on hole 11, it's Park Hyun Kyung, and it'll be such a joy if she does nail it. And against all odds, that is outstanding. Park Hyun Kyung with a winner there. And that's what you need to really get things going back again. Her third birdie of the day on hole number 11, of course. She had a bogey in there. She's got a 2-under score, but that's a beautiful way to get back into it. So as long as the golfers are getting their putts right, as long as it's not going to mar their performance or prove to be too much of a discomfort for them in terms of vision, especially being able to spot the green or where you're headed with your strokes, I think play will continue, and that's a good thing. Rosie Green on to a third stroke for hole 13. Kim Min-sun, 7, onto a fourth effort, aiming for birdie on hole 11. That's just going to scale past the destination for her. Quick shot there with the caddy.
기쁘게 먹으라고.
극한 직업.
한번 치는 바람.
보다 왼쪽 나도 페어웨이야.
Parking Kyung. Well, she's going to tee off for hole 12 after she won the right to do that. Got a birdie on hole number 11. I think that's been a very good, morale booster for her. More importantly, forget morale booster, but just keeps you kind of in good stead, for the event ahead. And there's always a joy in, you being able to, well, come up with the goods on any given day. Kim Minson 7 going in for a tee off for hole number 12. It's a pretty interesting way to get started, I would believe. And there we have it, Kim Na-young. Still, well, up there, and I don't think anyone's going to touch that score for the time being, but especially given the conditions. But Han Ji-won, Lee Ju-yoon, and Park Ji-young, of course, they're all joined now. We've got a 5 quintet sitting there in tied second. It's no longer what we were looking at, with a quartet. And I think that that's the interesting turn of events for us as far as we are concerned. So all said and done, it's looking like a fairly, well, a good day for us. And, well, the action will continue. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us because we are going to keep moving with the action right here. So there's going to be a bit of breaks, of course, between our golfers having to move, and it's not easy walking around. Many of them are going to be using buggies, especially from the tee-off point. If it's been a fairly long drive, for them. So do stay with us, and well, just keep that in mind, as we progress through the day. Jong Yun Ji. Just missing it by a tad bit, and that's unfortunate. Just a tad bit. That's a decent enough finish, not as great as the previous one, but she's feeling a bit of a chill. You can tell by that. Temperature wasn't really very high earlier, but look at the winds, and I think that's really where it's become just a tad bit colder. Temperature was about 23 or 24. We start off in the afternoon, and it's currently between 22 and 23 degrees. And the reason why I'm sounding like a weatherman is because it is playing a big part here. Wind speeds are up to about 8.8 to 9 miles, and that is very, very daunting. Rainfall has increased to about 34 millimeters. So you keep all that in mind, and you can understand why with the winds, the golfers are going to feel the chill, because we're looking at open spaces. It's not a concrete jungle in here. So third stroke, looking to finish on par with that putt for hole number 12. And 18 meters to the hole.
뽑힐 것 같아. 이제 날아갈 것 같아. 야, 저 물이 들어오면서 더 분대잖아.
아, 모자가 좀 달라서.
시원한.
Yu Hyun Jo knocking that up nice and easy. She definitely, I really thought that was true gangster. She just wanted to shake her jacket off, and I think that, well, the rain seems to have let up a little bit, which is a very good thing for us, and I do believe that this is what is really needed, here today. And I was saying, I'm sorry about sounding like a weatherman, but I was just filling you in on the conditions because wind speeds play such a big part. Now, I'm what you would call a casual golfer when I get out, and I dare not get into competition, but I love my golf. But for me, the most important part is I can play through the rain, but wind speeds really hamper my playing, and that's just as an amateur. But if you're looking at the pros and you're looking at, the KLPGA currently, well, wind speeds along with rain can be quite a problem, and that's the reason I was going through it. 8.8 miles to about 9 miles, it's definitely a worry, isn't it? And 34 millimeters of rainfall. Keep in mind the fact that temperature, of course, has been fairly pleasant at 23, but when you have such wind speeds, it makes it a bit chilly. It feels like it's about 12 or 13 degrees. Park Bo Kyung aims for birdie on hole number 13, and it's going to be a Cuban for her.
저기 그린에서도 못 가고 있는 거잖아.
백이 아직.
우리가 여기 쳐봤자 우리가 의미 없잖아.
아니 근데 처음부터는 아니고
어드레스가 안 나오는데 어떡해.
억지로 가도 다음을
Park Hyun Kyung will tee off for hole number 13. So just to keep you in the loop about this event, this is the Heaven Masters being played right here at the Heaven Resort in Gyeonggi-do. It's a very, very interesting event because, well, the prize money that we're looking at is 1 billion Korean won, or that's about 724,312.60 US dollars. I had to throw the 60 cents to be precise. The main winner will take home 130,418 US dollars, or 180 million Korean won. The runner-up will take home 110 million Korean won, or 79,696 US dollars, and the second runner-up, or the third place finish, will take home 80 million Korean won. That's 57,960 US dollars. That is a good purse, believe me. It's a heavy purse. And Lee Dong-gyun, of course, won the previous event. That was the DB Group Korean Women's Open Golf Championship last week, and that was a 1.2 billion Korean won event. So she will look at extending a form into this event. Last year's winner was Bai So-yoon, and Bai So-yoon got into a playoff with Seo Yoo-jin and Hwang Yoo-min. Hwang Yoo-min dropped out in the first playoff. Seo Yoo-jin tied with Bai So-yoon in the second, and in the third playoff, Bai So-yoon won. So 3 shots at Glory, and in 2024 the Heaven Masters, which was staged right here, and what a fine finish that was. So here we go with tee off time again, straight off from hole 1, and it's going to be Park Ji-hye 3 as she tees off for hole number 1.
아니 내일 치는 게 나아. 우리가 이렇게 된 거는 어차피 오늘 다 우리 뒤에 애들도 있는데 못 끝내는데.
티 꼽으시죠?
일단 빨리.
아 2월 치는 사람 언니는?
아니 우리 안 치면 안 땡기네.
저도 안 칠래요.
안 치.
저 찍지 말아주세요. 안녕히 가세요.
Well, she's been very vocal today. Park Yoon Kim, absolutely loving it. Just to look at what transpired here, you know, on the 6th hole. That was Kim Na-young. And, well, that was a birdie on... well, the 15th hole for her, and she had a terrific amount of birdies today, but you know, bogeys that marred her performance. She was really the star to watch in today's event. There's no doubt about it. And right there on the 3rd hole, of course, it was Jung Ji-ho. What a beautiful birdie that was for her. Very, very confident in her approach. Then of course Park Ji-young, always a delight to see her. I've always said this, a golfer with a bit of a swag in her style. And then right there on the 5th hole, Park Ji-young back again. And she did exceptionally well to find the tin cup. So we had some really glorious moments. Then on the 4th hole, aiming for birdie there was Bai So-hyun. Remember, she's the defending champion. She won this tournament last year in a 3-way playoff. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how she performs. Park Ji-young back again on hole number 6. It was a hat-trick of birdies on that 13th, 14th, 15th hole for Park Ji-young, and she was pretty much at a 3 under in tied 4th, and needed a birdie here, and that's when she moved up to a 4 under and went up to that the tied 3rd. Then on the 9th hole, we had a very good showing from Lim Hee-jong, who also took her position up by 1 spot. And moved up into that tied 3rd. She also had an eagle on hole number 15. And then on the 11th hole, well, we did see a nice comeback here from Park Hyun Kyung. And she wasn't tied 12th at the time, but she's moved up to a 2 under, so that's been good for her. So Kim Na-young pretty much at the top of the heap with 6 under, Han Ji-won, Lee Ji-hoon, Park Ji-young, Lim Hee-jong and Lee Dae-yeon all with 4 under and tied second, Jung Ji-ho in 7th with 3 under, and then you've got the tied 8th with Jo Hai-lim leading the way. And that's going to be interesting to see how they perform. So just giving you glimpses of how things have been. So Choi Ye-bon, Lee Dong-gyun, Park Hyun Kyung, Kang Ga-yul and Yoon Hwa-young also in tied 8th. Remember that Park Hyun Kyung is only through hole 12, and she's still got a chance to uplift her performance. Mara Som sits in tied 14th with Seo Yoo-jin, who was last year's runner-up, and I think it's a fairly interesting time for us.